Welcome to Promote, Profit, Publish. I'm your host, Juliette Clark. And today's guest, we're going to talk about something a little bit different that we haven't really talked about in the past, ARCs, Advanced Reader Copies. So stay tuned for that. I also want to remind you, we have a couple events coming up on Thursday this week. We have our Go High Level monthly training with Rebecca Bertoldi. This month's topic is save time and build relationships with automation. You can go over to ghlmonthly.com to register. Love to see you guys there. If you're a Go High Level user and you need a little extra support. Also, July 11th, you can go over to bamagtraining.com. Our guest on July 11th is the pregame show, Getting Ready to Write Your Masterpiece with Chris Johnson. So if you're thinking about writing a book in 2026 or starting in 2025 and publishing in 2026, this is a great way to get started. So join us. You can sign up for Chris's event at bamagtraining.com. Today's guest is Jessica Anderson. She's a returning guest. And she is an editor turned book coach. She's from the USA and she moved to France one day in 2010 and never looked back. I'm not sure she actually meant to move there. I haven't figured that out yet. Since starting her business 4 years ago, she's worked with authors all over the world on dozens of books. As the founder of Brand Book Bootcamp, she serves entrepreneurs who want to replace their content marketing with a brand book, which will position them as the go-to voice and attract ideal clients on autopilot. So stay tuned for ARCs with Jessica and I. Jessica, welcome.
Hi, Julia. Thank you so much for having me back. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you because ARCs are something we don't talk about very often. Mainly, I think, because my clients are mainly POD and they just want to get that book out there. But my fiction authors do engage with them, and I think a lot more fiction authors than nonfiction tend to do that because it's hard with your fiction story sometimes to, you know what I mean? Like the flow and everything and the story. It's not the same as nonfiction.
Well, that surprises me. First of all, I'm so glad that you call it ARC too, because I feel like people probably say ARC and I'm like, it's ARC in my head. Just read it. But what surprises me is I feel like my method is easier for the nonfiction crowd to actually do for themselves more than it is the fiction crowd, because I don't feel like I don't usually work with fiction authors anyway, but I feel like they're not necessarily in the mindset of marketing and email lists and all that businessy stuff. Whereas nonfiction ones, if they have written it the way I teach it, their book is aligning already with their high ticket offers. So like if they don't already have an email list, they're going to need one. And my strategy requires an email list in order to work.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, so let's start with tell everybody what an ARC is because I'm sure there are a lot of people that don't know.
Okay, so an ARC is an advanced reader campaign. And it's basically your book launch hype crew. Okay, so when you're launching a book, you're not going to launch it to crickets, right? You're going to have an audience behind it, and you want people to have already bought copies. Hopefully, they're going to be verified on Amazon. And you're going to start getting some actual reviews posted on Amazon or whatever platform that you're distributing to when your book actually goes to launch. And once again, that just helps build hype when you're coming out with your book for the first time. It gets everyone excited, people buying the book and getting to know you and any offers that you have. Maybe you have other books. If you're in fiction, maybe you have written other books in the same genre. Or in the case of my clients and some of yours as well, if you're in nonfiction, it's going to, once again, start seeding your high ticket offers to your audience at large, and specifically the people who actually picked up your book and read it as part of your ARC team.
Yeah, I love that. So, one of the things I wanted is now that you've mentioned that, can you explain what a giveaway bundle is and why it's so effective for authors? Because that's part of what this article was about that was really intriguing to me.
Yeah, so I called it a couple of different things. I wanted to call it a collaborative giveaway because my method specifically that I implemented for myself involves giving away products that are normally paid for free for a limited time. Now, I use collaborative giveaway interchangeably with the term bundle because that's also what I have seen on the internet. I've contributed myself to a bunch of bundles and I really love that as an async way to collaborate with other people and build our list together. Now, it doesn't have to be a bundle. this might shock people, but it could also be a summit. Lots of people speak at summits, like you have lots of workshop recordings going on over 2, 3 days. I've recently participated in an audio summit as well. So we recorded everything on Voxer ahead of time. That was all async too. That can still work. So that's also why I chose to call it a collaborative giveaway, because it can look a little different depending on where your strengths are. Definitely play to your strengths. Should I go further into detail or?
Yeah, share everything.
Okay. Oh, goodness. So it was a little bit difficult for me to parse out like a framework to explain this to people, especially via the medium of text. So for those who aren't aware, I wrote an article for Juliet for her Breakthrough Author magazine about my ARC collaborative giveaway process. And it was difficult for me to organize my thoughts around this, but I had a friend tell me, why don't you structure it around the 3 different landing pages that you need in order to pull this off? And I thought, that's a brilliant idea. So basically, you're going to need collaboration partners, but you're also going to need a series of 3 different landing pages. So the first one that I recommend is to have an RSVP page. And this is probably the most work up front, but this is secret sauce to my strategy. And this is basically where you're going to put all of the information to attract your collab partners, AKA those people who are contributing their digital products to your bundle. It's a place for them to get all of their questions answered, especially around like what audience is this targeting, what is the theme, and what contributions are going to work best here, am I fit, that sort of thing. Because they're, in a way, your initial hype crew to then build the ARC team, who's going to be your hype crew for your book launch or whatever else you're launching. If you're launching something else online, the same method applies. I actually ran this, side note, less than a year ago. It was last summer. I hosted my first collaborative giveaway, AKA bundle. And I did not have a book in the pipeline at that time. I just wanted to build my list. And through this method, because I'm building my list this way, the contributors, AKA my collab buddies, are also building their list at the same time. So it's a win-win. And I realized after I did it that the exact same process can be transposed onto building an ARC team for authors. So that's why I decided to write the article for your magazine, Juliet.
Can I ask a question?
Please
Are you
do.
using collab partners sort of like I talk about power partners? So
Yes.
people in the industry, like-minded, but not like yourself. They don't have exactly the same product, but they have author-related products.
They shouldn't have exactly the same product, right? If it's too similar, then you're going to have like the collective reach is going to be filled with too many of the same people. Like there's going to be too much overlap. So ultimately that's not going to be helpful for you or your collab partners. You're absolutely right to point that out. It's very much like your idea of power partners. So those of us who are contributing to your magazine, it's the same idea. A rising tide lifts all boats. The difference between your magazine though and the bundle is that yours is like perma-free. And my idea is like to sweeten the pot for people to come into the bundle and share their email addresses with us is the fact that normally all these products are paid, but now we're all offering them for free for a very specific reason and a very specific time frame to build in that urgency, because psychologically that helps people opt in and buy, or in this case, download for free.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I will continue then.
Okay.
After the RSVP page, you're going to want to build also what I call an opt-in page. Now, this one and the next page gets kind of confusing out of the 3 pages. The opt-in page is like a welcome mat, if you've heard of that, for a landing page or a website. It's the first thing that the public or the collective audience of the collab partners is going to see. On this page is an invitation for them to enter into the bundle, but they can only enter if they give up their email address. And once they do that, their email address gets sent to you as the host of the bundle. And they get redirected to what I call page 3, the gift mall page. And that's the page where they can select individually the gifts or the paid products that are now being offered for free that they want. So in other words, I don't want to spam people with 30 odd gifts, even if they only want 1 or 2 out of that whole bundle. I want them to be able to like self-select, like, hey, I want this one, but I don't want this one. And in doing so, the owners of those products collect the email addresses that are opting in individually on that 3rd page.
Right. Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
I
does
feel
make
like it
sense.
I feel like it all lives in my head and I don't know how to like explain to people who can't see it.
No, we need to make you a really nice lead magnet with this like mapped out.
I do actually have video walkthroughs, which I included the link in the article for the magazine, and maybe we can include it
In
down below
this
on this
too.
page
Yeah.
as well.
And by the way, you guys, the magazine that this is in July. So it's 2 weeks from now, you'll start getting the magazine.
Thank you. Good reminder.
Okay, so on that page, so talk about the gift mall a little bit because I like that idea that I've been a part of those before where you just have all this stuff dumped in and it's like, then you're spending all your time weaving through it. I love that the gift mall is sort of there as an offer to choose what you need and leave the rest behind.
Sure. So there are two parts to this. One, it helps to have a theme to your bundle or your collaborative giveaway up front.
Mhm.
Of course, it's like niching down, right? That old saw, like if you can make it narrow, I think it's going to be more attractive to people who are interested in that specific topic. When I implemented this for myself, I actually didn't do that. I kept it wide very specifically because it was my first time and I wasn't too sure like which people were going to say yes to contributing and that sort of thing. So I made it just like a B2B bundle, a fun party theme.
How do you recommend using the email marketing after the bundle's out there? Because I feel like sometimes, yeah, your bundle closes, then what do you do with that list? Because that's your list building.
Sure. So when this is your very first subscribers to your email list, I can understand that there's going to be a lot of overwhelm. You don't need to have a list in order to implement the strategy. Also, if you already have a list, you can still implement the strategy. So it works to start your list or grow your list either way. Obviously, if you already have a list, you should be in practice with emailing them regularly. If you don't already have a list, you're going to need to welcome them, obviously, explain who you are because you don't yet have an audience. So they need to remember, oh yeah, I opted in for this free thing, but like, I just wanted that one product that I saw that looked interesting. So who is this Jessica emailing me all of a sudden? And what are these brand books she's talking about? You know, you'd be surprised how many touch points you need for you to start to have like brand recognition with other people. It takes a lot of upfront educating. And I suggest you do a lot of that educating and nurturing so that you get the know, like, and trust before you ever go and start to sell them anything. So again, as this applies to authors, if you have a book in the pipeline, consider doing a collaborative giveaway like way up front, weeks, months before your book comes out. That will give you enough time to nurture them so that they know who you are, they like you, and they trust you, and they're staying on your list because they have a reason to buy from you later. That will make your book launch be much more successful in the end, as opposed to implementing this bundle. And then as soon as the doors to the bundle close, you're immediately selling them something else. It's not enough time for them to, first of all, dive into the resources that they've just downloaded as part of the bundle, but also to, once again, understand who you are and why you're emailing them.
No, I love that. We have a new vendor who's doing these amazing marketing programs. And right along what you just said, when the report comes out, it starts out with unaware. So what do you do when people have absolutely no idea who you are? And I feel like that's where that really fits in. They've opted in because the collaborators brought them, but now who are you and what sort of education? So how long would you say you would kind of nurture them in that space with just good education before you started selling the book?
That's a tough question because the answer is one that everybody hates. It depends. If I had to, if I had to choose a time frame, I would say probably give it 4 weeks before you sell them something else.
Okay.
A book isn't going to be like high stakes because a book isn't a high ticket item, right? We're not selling a book for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That one you could probably get away with selling a little bit earlier, especially if you're reminding them a lot in advance, like my book launch is coming up. Then you're probably okay. You can squinch that in there before you start selling them a different offer that costs more. That's what I would recommend. But as soon as possible, do the bundle so that you can build your list and then you can say whatever you want to them while you're on your list. I also want to just touch on the previous question. Just add one thing is as your bundle is live. So let's say you have a live date of, 10 days. And let's say someone opts in for your bundle on day 2. Between days 2 and 10 it would be great to have an automated sequence set up so that it's sending out to people who are opting into your bundle. So that person who joined you on day 2 is now getting regular reminders that the bundle is still open, and you can feature contributors individually. Some people get fancy with this and they ask those contributors to pay the host for those like sort of sponsor spots on individual emails. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. It can just be something that you set up in advance, like, thank you so much for joining the bundle. Hope you're enjoying the gifts you already got. And if you are, did you happen to see this gift from this other person? This is what's in it. I think you'll really love it. And another call to action, like click here to download or something like that. That keeps like the interest in your bundle happening all the way through, what's it called? Doors close.
Yeah, all the way through the campaign. I love that. So get that, really highlight those people. Because especially when you're over on social media and you're tagging those people, with the posts, and now you have a drip campaign, people are seeing, oh, my friend Tracy is interested in this. Maybe I should go check it out because she's in it. So I think it really does boost that as well.
And people are busy and we're overwhelmed with content and noise online anyway. So it's easy on that gift mall page. If you're featuring, for example, 30 contributors, it's easy for people to miss something that honestly that they would enjoy or that could help them because they were so focused on getting that one thing that they saw on the previous page, like, oh, I want that. And then they just make a beeline for that thing and they skip over everyone else. So having, like you said, that drip campaign that's spotlighting individual contributors will boost their conversions as well.
Yeah, and I just said, like, running through my head, this would be a great campaign type thing to run on as a LinkedIn newsletter as well, because
Okay.
yeah, that would be an excellent place as well. So here's where I feel like authors get really hung up on this. What are your tips for them writing really effective copy and designing eye-catching graphics? Because I hear my authors all the time, like, I'm an accountant, I'm not, a copywriter. So how would you recommend that they do that around and really be able to do it effectively?
I mean, I would actually say don't sweat it. My favorite tool is Canva, and you can find wonderful templates in Canva. I know you are well versed in AI, much more than I am, so there's probably opportunities in AI as well. I would say it's not as important as having an actual standout product that makes sense for the bundle. When I implemented this for myself last year, I actually had an application form for contributors so that I could collect all of their information up front before I even like designed any of these pages. So they gave me obviously the details like contact information but also their headshot as well. I asked them for a mock-up of what their contribution was and some copy from them. So in other words, you as the host, you don't have to make any of this stuff up. You can put the onus on the contributors to give you those materials that you need. But, to your point, if some of the contributors are authors and they're like, oh, I don't know, I've never done this before, don't sweat it. Take your best shot in Canva and don't spend hours over it because honestly, that's not the most important thing
That you're doing. And I love that. I personally don't know how to use Canva. So I
love
never
Canva.
mastered it, but much better at WordPress and some of those other things. But what I would say about that is even for the magazine, I will take some of your articles, like usually the ones that I think are the most interesting for the month, and I'll run them through Perplexity and say, write a promotional piece about this. So you can use AI definitely to do some of that stuff as well when you get the stuff from the other collaborators. But all my collaborators write their own copy. So I sort of make you guys, because for me, if I ask you for some copy on something, you're going to write it much better than me because I don't know as intimately what you do as you do.
Sure,
So
absolutely.
I think
I think
that's
that's the most fun part for me, but I understand that for many authors, marketing is like really daunting.
yeah, it is really daunting, but there are things that make it easy. And like you said, don't sweat it. It's not the end of the world if it doesn't hit. You can always tweak it.
Another tool that I use for the actual landing pages, I want to touch on this. I get fancy because I'm a lead pages user and I love it. It's probably the most expensive tool in my tech stack, but it's well worth it. I am an affiliate if you're interested. But the lead pages itself is a huge learning curve, and I struggled with this up front. But I knew that it would be the best for conversions, so I stuck with it and I learned it. Were the landing pages especially beautiful when I made them last year for this bundle? I don't know. They worked. I mean, it doesn't have to be like the most beautiful thing. And again, if you're spending so much time on that, I feel like that's not where you should be putting your time and effort. If you don't have an expensive, fancy software like Lead Pages, there are many email marketing platforms out there like Kit, formerly known as ConvertKit, which even in the free version, they give you some landing page templates that you can use. Even if you don't have that yet, you could just use a Google Doc, honestly. I've seen many big name
Really?
creators online just using Google Docs as a landing page.
How interesting. Now, I use Go High Level. There is an AI function in there. I don't use it because I spent my time on Lead Pages many years ago, and once you learn something as complicated as that, everything else is going to be easy because it is
That's so
it's like
true.
the
That's so true.
hardest thing to learn. But I mean that for most authors though too, once you master those things, you don't have to pay for a lot of marketing. You're doing your own. And you're probably doing it once you learn pretty well. So it's just taking the time and the frustration. Because I remember like throwing things like, ah, why isn't this working?
I know, so many hours spent, so many hours spent. But the reason I got Lead Pages originally was in order to sell my high ticket offers. So the ROI was there already. I didn't need to question myself. But once again, if you're worried about that or you don't want to pay for another tool, Google Docs is free. It works just fine.
Yeah. So what do you use for the gift mall? Is that just a landing page with different, I don't know, different things on it? Or is it actually like a shopping page? Like you would put like a shopping page on a website?
What is the difference? It's a lead page for me.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, so
Yeah, it's in
some
lead
like I
pages.
know in Elementor there's a shopping page in the one I bought that you fill out
Mm,
different information. So
okay,
probably
like a
just
template.
yeah, it's like a template, and you have to put in like how much does this weigh, and all this pricing and coupons and all that. So
Oh, no, no, no. It wasn't that fancy. No, this was honestly a landing page that we built again in lead pages. Me and my VA, full disclosure, I had a VA helping me with this. And we built it from scratch. I had an idea of what I wanted it to look like, and I gave her like some inspiration and in terms of like screenshots. I like this and I don't like that. This is what I'm envisioning. And we sort of just like worked together in conversation to create the final product.
yeah, and I do want to mention you guys out there, don't feel bad about hiring a VA to help you. I mean, we're going through a very complex funnel right now that we're doing with triggers that text like people that are involved. And I have a VA helping me. Like I can conceptually see it, but I can't make it work. So sometimes those people
Hmm.
just have that little extra skill you're learning, and you're learning
And
it.
yeah, and conversely, if you don't want to go that route, or if you're scared to like, I don't know, ask someone else to like have their eyes on your business and what you're doing, that's okay too, because I calculated we spent maybe like an hour a day for 30 days, like from start to finish, implementing this whole thing.
Mhm.
So if you don't have a VA, maybe that means you'll spend 2 hours a day for a month. So just bear that in mind. Like, I'm not saying that you need to have a VA either in order to implement this. You can totally do it yourself by playing to your strengths and assessing like, okay, I do want to invest in this in for my business, or I don't want to invest in that. You do you.
Yeah, but you're time blocking just like you would do with writing. So it is a good skill to have. I like that you did that instead of saying, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to be massively overwhelmed because I'm going to finish this, this week instead of, an hour a day and it's done.
Give yourself plenty of lead time. I mean, during the time we were setting this up, I had one or both children with me at home full time on any given day. So that's a huge
So,
reason. Bless you. A
thank
huge
you.
reason why I asked my VA to help me on this project specifically is because I knew I couldn't even devote the 2 hours a day to do it myself. Give yourself plenty of lead time, especially if this is the first thing. Like, no one expects you to hit it out of the park on your first try, and you shouldn't either.
Yeah, right.
One idea I had going back to you mentioning like the shop page is that, and I know I mentioned in my article as well, every product that you're featuring, make sure that you assign it a monetary value because
Yes.
perceived value, once again, psychologically is very good for buy-in. People wanting to say, yes, I definitely want that because normally I would have had to pay $50 to get this product, but today it's free. I just did that this morning. I saw in my email someone that I follow was promoting a collab partner's product for $50. And she's saying for the next couple of days, this person's offering it for free. So I clicked over and now I'm on someone else's email list because I have her product for free now. Works
Yeah.
on me every time.
There you go. So, Jessica, your article is going to be out in July. Where do we find you? Because this comes out first if we want to know more about the campaigns. And are you helping other people set these up?
I could. I don't have a specific offer around that. I really just wanted to tell people about how I implemented this to show up and give them value because I believe in doing that. Then again, if you want more one-on-one help, I'm definitely open to that. You can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Jessica Anderson. Anderson is spelled Andersen. There are some of us on LinkedIn with the exact same funny spelling, but make sure you're landing on me. I'm active on there. Julia, I'm sure we'll put links down below. I also have, like I mentioned, full video walkthroughs of all of these landing pages that I created in Lead Pages. I can give you the link to that as well, and then people can see this visually.
Yeah, that would be great, especially with video, because then you can step by step stop. I always like video trainings because you can stop it where you're at, go do it, go back, especially if you're
I
a
do
learn by
too.
doing person, which I sort of am. So,
Yeah, I do
Jessica,
too.
thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And I'm sure it's going to be helpful for a number of people. And you guys, it's not just your book launch. Like she said, high ticket launch, you can use this for anything that you're putting together
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was using this purely to grow my list ahead of a launch that I was doing like a couple months later. So, yeah, once again, if you look me up on LinkedIn, please make sure to connect with me and my DMs are open. So, outside of any like paid consulting that I could help you with implementing this process, I am always available to answer your questions about what I'm saying. I realize so much of it is like vague and nebulous when you're not actually going through the funnel yourself as a visitor to the bundle or as a contributor. Just send me a DM with any questions about this process. I'm happy to answer it.
Oh, I love that. Where can they, oh, just over on LinkedIn?
Just over on LinkedIn, it is the best place to reach me.
You guys, I love that because the minute we say the word funnel, a lot of you go, ooh, that's scary. So, and it can
I
be.
mean, I have to say, I used to be one of those people.
I,
I used to think that was scary and I didn't know what it was. And again, it lives on the internet. It's sort of like in the metaverse, not really sure. I can't see it. It helps, the thing that really helped me like drum up the courage to host my own bundle last year was because I had been through so many already
uh-huh.
as a visitor to the bundle. So as someone who was opting into the page and going to the gift mall and like shopping for the gifts that I wanted. And then I started to apply to other people's bundles to be a contributor in theirs. So then from that perspective, I understood, oh, okay, like this is what I need to provide to the host in order to be a successful contributor. Once I had done those things a few times, then I felt confident enough to say, like, maybe I could put this together myself and be a host. So I won't say that
Yes.
I pulled it off perfectly, but I think 1 hour a day for 30 days is pretty good for 100 new subscribers to my list. Again, you can use that to build your ARC team. And a great way to like forge deeper relationships with collab buddies that we can then do different one-off collaborations later. It was an asynchronous effort. I'm always a fan of that. Really, I can't complain. So I'm glad that you invited me on here to talk more about that.
Well, good. Thank you so much. And we'll talk soon.